Hey everyone, it's live at Epiphan. We're here at InfoComm 2018 at booth N1053. I'm here with Victor.
Yeah, hello everybody.
Victor's from our Palo Alto office. He works in our marketing team, does a lot of the setup for these trade shows as well as a lot of our web marketing. So I thought it'd be great to have him here to talk about InfoComm and everything else. So far, this is day 2 of 3 for InfoComm, and it's been a busy day, very exciting stuff, talking to lots of customers, which has been great. As usual though, we usually want to start live at Epiphan with a little bit of news. So you learned some stuff this morning that was really interesting about Facebook streaming.
Yeah, so one of the cool things about Facebook is that you want to stream there's a lot of events that are streamed to it, right? So one of the issues with streaming events that Facebook has traditionally been, if you have any sort of copyright music, audio specifically, in your stream, then it will get shut down. Right. So that has always been an issue, and that has always been an issue with YouTube as well. Actually, I have a good story about that. We sponsor, us Epiphan in Palo Alto, the US headquarters, we sponsor a conference called SVOD, Silicon Valley Open Doors. And about 2-3 years ago, we were streaming to YouTube from the conference, and the DJ played background music during the break. And the background music got captured through the microphones of the speakers. YouTube saw a copyright violation and shut down our stream and flagged our account. So that was a big problem for us. And that was kind of my first experience with copyright content protection. So now what Facebook is doing is they signed a bunch of record deals with a bunch of record labels, as well as some independent artist labels. And now when you're doing a stream that's of content where Facebook has signed an agreement with that label, you'll actually still be able to stream it out. And if that content label has not been signed, you'll get a warning saying, this is copyrighted content.
Instead of just automatically getting
That's right. That's right. Actually, if you own the broadcast rights to the content, if you actually bought the music to use as broadcast rights, you'll be able to submit that license as well. So It's pretty cool. It's really great news for streamers, live events, musicians, anything with any kind of music, right?
Yeah, so that's really a big step up for, again, the live event guys that are obviously worried about that. They don't want to get shut down. So that's good news. It's really good news. Yep. And hopefully YouTube finds a way of doing something similar. I mean, with YouTube, with uploaded content, you can fight with them to make claims to get it working, but live, you can't really do that. So both Victor and I are looking at chat on our phones here, so if you guys have any questions, please put them into chat. We're happy to answer those. Looks like we've got a bunch of people just saying hi already. So what are some of the other things we've been seeing this week? Well, I guess one thing we'll recap. I hope a lot of people had a chance to take a look at our live stream from last Saturday, where myself, Matt, and Dan did a little test live stream during the motorcycle ride for Dad. Victor obviously wasn't able to join us, even though he's an avid motorcyclist as well. But the interesting part there is we used Webcaster to try and do that live stream. We had some expected interruptions doing LTE as we were moving. You're doing 100 kilometers an hour down the road, you might get some signal interruptions, and we saw that a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. It's kind of expected, but we were just doing Wi-Fi tethered to our phones, so I think it went pretty well. What we didn't expect, and we're going to have to try and play with more, we've talked a lot about doing YouTube multicam setups on this show. And we tried to do that with Dan and I, doing a multicam with 2 webcasters to one event. We paired them the night before, and everything looked good, but the day of, they weren't linked to the same multicam setup anymore. And I don't know what happened. So we had to, on the fly, change things a little bit, and we actually ended up with Dan and I in 2 separate events, which is not ideal, but it still worked. But anyway, that content's up there on the Epiphan Events YouTube page, so if you guys want to check that out. My stream is about 1 hour and 20 minutes long, and I think the ride really starts about 40 minutes in. The rest of it's just kind of waiting around for things to get going. But there were nearly 1,300 motorcycles in that ride, so it's pretty cool, and you get a nice little tour of downtown Ottawa as well for anyone interested about what the capital of Canada and how sleepy and boring it is on a Saturday morning kind of looks like. You got a nice little tour that way. But yeah, I mean, that was an interesting test, and we might do some other interesting tests along those lines. Here at InfoComm, we've been doing live streams with some journalists and things like that have been coming by the booth and using Webcaster to do their own live streams to their own Facebook pages. That's been an interesting test as well. We've made sure that we're using Ethernet to a mobile hotspot to get LTE. In the past, we've often paid for hardline internet, but it is very expensive to get hardline internet.
$5,000 plus.
Right, it's about $5,000 just to get 5 meg up down, which 5 meg is not that great for live streaming even. So we're using, we mentioned this I guess back in NAB in April, we're using your ZTE mobile hotspot. Maybe tell us about that setup.
Yeah, so the ZTE mobile hotspot, it's just basically a hotspot from Sprint. And it has what is called LTE Plus, some people call it LTE Advanced, some people call it carrier aggregation technology, and basically what it does is it's got a couple of antennas inside of it, and it would connect to different transmitters on different towers at the same time. So if you lose a bit of bandwidth on one tower, it would make up for it by using bandwidth from another tower. What that means for you is you always get guaranteed bandwidth, and you get a stable upload speed as well as download speed. Not really important for live stream, but upload, it's fixed, right? So you don't run into issues where a bunch of people start streaming from their phones around you, and suddenly your bandwidth drops and you lose it. So it's a ZTE hotspot.
You're using it on Sprint, right?
On Sprint, yes. This one's the model is ZTE Warp, I believe. That's what it's called. And this one we actually purchased from a third-party provider that's called Calix Institute. So it's about Calix is actually a nonprofit that has a deal with Sprint. You make a $500 donation to the institution, and then they send you a hotspot with a year of service, and it's fully unlimited. And Calix actually has a really good mission. It's Institute for Privacy on the Internet. Right. So you're supporting a good mission, and you're getting a great hotspot, that we were using here. And it works absolutely flawlessly. Yeah,
and so far our speed tests have shown that our down speed is about 40 to 50 megabit, and our up speed has been pretty stable at around 5 to 8 megabit.
Which is enough for streaming.
Exactly, so we're getting better quality internet than we did for a hardline drop at a fraction of the cost. So there's still some challenges with interference when you're trying to do it mobile, but for the most part, so far, the past couple days, it's been great. We're even experimenting with some boosters, and maybe that's a discussion for another time. But I wanted to take a look at some of the questions we're getting online. Some of my colleagues are chiming in there with some links for you guys. There was a question there from the Ambit Gift about where the information for the copyright music stuff. There's a TechCrunch article. We'll make sure to put that link in the description afterwards. Mgrev's asking about the giveaway for the capture cards. Well, give us about 30 seconds and we'll get to that. Let's see, what else was in here? Just some other questions about music use and stuff like that. So, definitely check out that TechCrunch article. We'll put that link in there, and it has more information about these changes that Facebook's working on. Dr. Stefan's asking, any other new toys and gadgets from the show we'd recommend to use together with the Webcaster? What's new in Sin City? Well, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, so I don't think I'm allowed to talk about many of those things. We've been going around. InfoComm's an interesting show because it's a little bit of everything. Shows like NAB are very focused on broadcast. InfoComm is a big AV show that really has a little of everything. So we're in the North Hall. Just at the far side of the North Hall is a lot of digital signage stuff. There's people around us with conferencing stuff. Cisco's just beside us. There's giant LED video board walls and stuff like that around us. There's other companies with capture and encoding stuff, but not a ton. There's a lot of good stuff here. And we've been talking to a few companies that make switchers and cameras. Our friends at PTZ Optics are just around the corner from us. So all of that stuff's obviously great interaction stuff to use with Webcaster and Pearl. So far, though, I would say one of the big things, maybe we're a little bit biased, but Pearl Mini has been actually really exciting. A lot of people coming by the booth, checking out Pearl Mini, and really in love with it. We just did a media interview just a few moments before we went live, and right away he's like, yeah, this is obvious. This is an easy pick. So we're really excited about that. So I guess maybe what we'll jump to here is I'm going to try and pull up or you have the email here with the winner. So our colleagues back in Ottawa went through everyone who submitted to be in the contest for our beat up AVIO giveaway. So they drew names, and we have those, and we're going to announce them here. We'll be in touch with those winners, and we'll get your shipping information, and make sure we get these to you guys. So, what was the first one?
So the first one is the AVIO 4K, the one that survived the rock drop, the swimming pool submersion, as well as the fire. And this one's funny because you were just asking about whether we would announce the winners. And
so the winner of AVIO 4K,
that's Magrev, you are the winner of the 4K.
You are the winner, and you were asking about it. So you get the rock drop, went for a swim, and set on fire AVIO 4K.
I guess you would need to contact us.
So
send us your address.
Our team will reach out to you probably through YouTube, get your information. We'll make sure we get this shipped out to you. So keep your eyes open for that. We'll PM you and get that set up. What was the next one?
The next one is the AVIO HD that survived being tossed from the second-story window.
So that was this guy here. So this was the one that went off the second-story window, bounced on the driveway. So that one goes to
Daniel Wright. And this
Wright.
This one looks the nicest too.
It does. This one's pretty good shape.
Brand new, I think.
Yeah.
Actually.
So Daniel Wright, same thing. If you're watching, we're going to get in touch with you, and we'll make sure that we get your shipping information, get that one sent out to you. You might be the number one winner on that one because that one's in great shape. And the last, but certainly not least, this one, everyone who has come by the booth here at InfoComm, we've had these on the front table at our booth. Everyone sees this one and goes, wow, that's amazing. And that thing still works. Yes, it does. So this has kind of been the star of the show in a way, which is awesome. So drum roll, who gets this one?
The winner of the AVIO HD that survived the motorcycle crash, the car crush, the hockey test, and the hammer smash is Scott Burrow.
Scott, great job, Scott. Thanks so much. So you see what you do with this one, buddy. We'll look forward to hopefully some content from you on how this one goes. So Scott, of course, we'll get in touch with you. We know how to get in touch with you pretty easily. So those are our three winners for those devices. So thanks everyone who entered. Really appreciate it, and then hopefully in the future we'll get an opportunity to look at some more giveaways. Any other questions coming up there in chat?
We have a couple of questions. So this is actually a question for you, George. Okay. Can you explain the difference of mics that uses 1/4-inch jacks and 3/8 jacks?
That's really more of a question for Matt, but 1/4-inch jacks, 3/8 jacks. I mean, they're fairly similar, except typically with the 3/8 or 3.5 mil, you're not going to get balanced audio, where with TRS, with the 1/4-inch jacks, you can often get balanced audio. So it's a little closer to XLR. It's a little more professional audio, certainly level-wise, whereas 3.5 mil is going to be more consumer line level kind of signals or consumer mic level signals. So I would say probably comes down to quality. That's probably a big one.
Cool. So we have another couple of questions. Hello from Norway. Hello from Las Vegas.
Yeah.
What else do we have here? What about adding NDI support to Webcaster as a source for video audio? So that is realistically probably not going to happen.
No, not on Webcaster. NDI is something we get a lot of questions on the Pearl family of products, and is something our development team has kind of been looking at to see how we might be able to integrate that with products like Pearl 2. Webcaster is such a lightweight device, it's not realistically fit for that sort of setup. But I think someone was earlier asking about integration with Mixer. I assume that question was directed towards Webcaster as well. No immediate plans, but it is an interesting one as Mixer starts to improve. And we did spend a lot of time in NAB talking to the guys at Lightstream who had just signed a big deal with Microsoft to work with Mixer and a bunch of other stuff. So there might be some opportunities there to find ways to integrate with other services beyond Facebook and YouTube. It all depends on what APIs are available from some of those companies and how lightweight they are, and will they run on Webcaster easily.
Yeah, we just have a couple other comments. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Yes, we are. We appreciate the feedback. You should do more giveaways. I agree. We should do more giveaways. We should. I love giveaways.
Well, as always, any ideas that you guys have for any fun things or live streams you want to see, please send us an email, live@epiphan.com. Put it in the comments. We're always checking those out. But I think maybe, well, while you're here, Victor, we talked about InfoComm a little bit, but We didn't really touch on why we go to some of these shows. We said kind of a little bit of what InfoComm is, but from your perspective, from the marketing team, what's the value in InfoComm for us, and what do we really get out of it from talking to all of our customers? One of the things I've really been impressed with this week is the number of partners of ours that have been coming by. So what's your take on InfoComm in general?
Yeah, so InfoComm is, it's this really big show, and unlike NAB, which George mentioned, it's not really focused on broadcast industry, it's just general AV. So we've got displays, we've got audio, microphones, lighting, video conferencing, so all sorts of AV gear, right? And that's kind of where we tie in, because for a lot of customers, Pearl, Webcaster, and now the Pearl Mini is really the heart of their whole production and really the heart and the center of their workflow. So while they are using all this other gear, they're using the Pearl to tie it together. And that's why I really like this show. It's got a really good variety of people who are specialists in different areas, but every single one of those little small niches, if you can call it that, inside the AV industry is tied in together with live streaming and video.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, we always like talking to everybody who comes by the booth. Yep. It's always unique questions and situations that they present, which we love kind of pulling those apart, figuring them out. So anybody who is in the Las Vegas area and wants to come by InfoComm, we're in the North Hall, booth 1053. We're here the rest of the day today and tomorrow. And of course, the show wraps up at about 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Just going to take one last look here. Dr. Stefan was asking, do you come to shows in Europe, especially Germany? Yes, we do. We will be at IBC in Amsterdam in September, and we will be working with one of our partners in Germany. I think it's mostly our distribution partner in Germany. I think their show is mostly for their resales partners. But we'll be talking a little bit about that. If you keep an eye on our social media stuff, Dr. Stefan, we'll have more of that stuff announced as we get closer to September. And then our big show in Europe is typically ISE in February in Amsterdam. That's a really big show, a lot like InfoComm for Europe. And that's always a good show. So definitely if you're making plans for February, keep ISE in mind, and we'll definitely be there for that. So I think we'll probably wrap up there. A little later this afternoon at a little after 2 o'clock Eastern, I'll actually be on a podcast here with Rave, which is a publication media outlet here that does a lot of the media around InfoComm. They always come by the booth and do a little video clip on our different products. We did those yesterday, but I'm going to be on their podcast in a little bit. So I'm looking forward to that. We're going to be discussing how AV is life, which I guess is really the story of shows like InfoComm. So anybody interested in checking that out, we'll be doing that a little later. So yeah, again, send us any email, comments, questions, throw it all in there. We only streamed on YouTube today, not Facebook, but we'll make sure that we get some video put up on Facebook as well on this. We might do some stream experiments on Facebook a little later.
Yes,
we want to do a wander.
Yeah, join our Facebook group, because what we want to do is we want to actually do a mobile live stream where we move around the hall. And we're going to test how good the mobile LTE setup works, not just for kind of fixed streams like this, but actually moving around a crowded area. So that should be very, very interesting. So follow our group.
No guarantees.
Like us on Facebook, yeah, but
yeah,
no guarantees.
It'll be another experiment,
yeah.
So don't hold us to perfection on that. But these are the things we want to test so that we can report back to you guys on how well these things work.
Absolutely.
But for now, I think for myself, for Victor, everyone here in the Epiphan team at InfoComm, we'll see you next week when we have some more interesting stuff. We'll probably wrap up some news items from InfoComm next week. We'll report back on Robo Abe Lincoln. I don't really have much more to say about that right now, but maybe that'll be on our roaming stream. We'll check that out. So thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you next week.